Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Review All the Things. We're out in the garage this morning, and as you can see, I got the Polaris behind me, and we are going to get ready to install our roof-mounted accessory panel from Polaris. I've been waiting for this for a while. I've been looking for an aftermarket option. So they finally came out with theirs, so I did an unboxing video in one of my shorts. You can find that in my shorts section below. But I'll go through the packaging and I'll go through all the parts, and then we'll get ready to get it installed in the Polaris. So we have the kit here. I took everything out of the package. So you got your roof panel, you got all the hardware you're going to need, and a bracket for the rear pulse bar. We have 3 switch blanks because this is intended to be installed during a roof-mounted light bar install, but we're not going to do that. So in the instructions it does tell you what you would need if you're installing a roof light bar, and if you don't have a Polaris with a rear roof mounted pulse bar, you're going to need that as well in order to make any of those accessories work. So my Polaris already has one. You could install the kit. If you just wanted the switch panel and that's all you needed, you can just install the switch panel. If you wanted to run harnesses under the roof liner, or if you don't have a roof liner, you want to keep everything secure, I think that's what this bracket is for. Where these little holes are, you'll be able to secure harnesses so they're not hanging down out of the way. So we're going to do the full install today, even though I'm not installing a wire harness to do a roof mounted light bar right now. So if you watched some of my other videos, you'll see that for my rear mounted light bars, I put a switch in the headliner because this accessory was not available. So if I may eventually move that switch into the switch panel. So the switch panel, like I said, you could install it. All you do is take those 2 screws out, and then you're going to put this in its place. And then that's where your switch panel is going to be. So the first thing that we have to do is take out all of the push pins in the headliner. You got all these front push pins. There's 2 screws if you have a dome light, torque screws in the dome light that you'll have to take out. And then in the back, there are also 2 push pins that you'll need to remove, and then you can take the headliner down and we will install the bracket on the pulse bar. I'm also going to have to disconnect my switch here, but that's okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the push pins. Now the kit comes with new ones, so if you mangle them up, you don't have to worry about that. I've reused these a couple times. I'm using a trim panel tool. You can get trim panel tools from Harbor Freight for cheap if you don't have one. Even the plastic ones work just fine. So we took care of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the front, and now we have to take these 2 out of the back. And then we're going to take the 2 torque screws out of the dome light. So if you have a dome light, these are T25 Torx screws. Your dome light comes out. Now your panels are loose and they're ready to come out, and they're pretty easy. Just pull them down, and they're tucked in behind the roof and the seals. So I'm going to pull this down so that I can disconnect my switch, which you won't have to do. Now you probably could do the work you needed to do with leaving this up, but if you've seen my other videos, we just take things out of our way to make our lives easier. So I'm going to get this out of our way, and then I will be back and we will start the bracket for the pulse bar. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is take out the 4 bolts that hold the pulse bar in. For those that have a pulse bar, if you'll be installing a pulse bar, you'll be doing the opposite. These are T27 Torx. So we don't need to take the pulse bar all the way out. Now when you want to install this bracket, the opening faces the driver's side. And then it's going to be held in place with the 4 bolts that you just took out. Just lined up one of the easier ones just to hold it in place, and now it'll be easier to put the others in. I'm not tightening them up all the way because it's just easier to locate the screw holes. Well, everything's still a little loose. Like I said, the purpose of this bracket is just to hold harnesses in place, as far as I understand, because I'm not installing anything into the pulse bar, but imagine you're going to plug something in and you'll be able to route the harness, and it'll have clips to clip into the holes, and there's holes on the front and the back side. Alright, so that's it for the pulse bar bracket, and now we'll move on. Okay, so they're in. Make sure our harness is not in the way of anything that we're going to screw back in. Make sure that our dome light harness is accessible. Tuck the headliner back up on the sides. Pretty much stays by itself at that point, and then you can put your push pins back in. Okay, so we've put our push pins back in the front part of the headliner. It's easy enough. And now we're going to install the switch bracket. Now if you have a windshield with a wiper, there is a slot in the back of the switch panel that you want to route your harness through for your wiper so you don't pinch it. There's 2 insulators that come in the kit that I need to install, so I'm going to go grab them. I'm going to put them in. And then we're going to take these 2 screws out in the front of the headliner with our T27, T25. And, alright, so we've got the 2 insulators installed. We're going to take out these 2 front headliner screws. You're not going to need to reuse these. says discard them, but I never discard a bolt. It goes right in the hope bucket or the hope drawer. You know what that is? It's a drawer or a bucket that you keep with a bunch of random screws so that in case you ever need something, you hope you have it. So we're going to be taking these shorter screws out, and we're going to be installing in place these two larger screws that came with the kit along with the washers. So we have our rubber insulators installed on the switch panel. Those are there because they're going to ride. They're going to be pressed against your roof here, so that's going to keep them from rattling and squeaking. And we've taken our replacement bolts, which are the T30s in the kit. You also have these washers in the kit. One side is metal, one side is rubber, and they're concave. The rubber side faces the bolt head, and you just screw these onto the washer. I wouldn't recommend pushing them through because they're a little snug and it could tear the rubber washer. So then we're going to put our switch holder up, and these bolts are going to go right back in place of the other bolts that we took out. So we've got our switch cover in place. Take our T30. We're going to put these in. So we got our first one started, and then we're just going to put the other one in. And that's it. She's in. We're going to put our 3 switch blanks in, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with the other one. Probably going to order a switch from OTR Switch Guys to match the Polaris switches to replace my switch that I have in the headliner. And we'll put that in here, and that's for the my rear facing rough country lights. Alright everyone, so this is wrapped up for now. You saw I put all my switch blanks in, and I dug around in my glove box and found an extra one from when I took one out of the dash to replace it with a switch for my forward facing light bar. And like I said, when I'm ready to actually put a switch in for any of my lights, probably my rear facing lights first to get the one out of the headliner, I'll take you through that process of adding a switch to an aftermarket harness light bar. I did that in some of my other videos for my front facing light bar, but I'll take you through the process again. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate the support. Please share my videos if you find them helpful, and we will catch you on the next one. And always remember, don't be afraid to work on your own stuff.